Hey, what's happening everybody? Thanks for joining us on Cinema Recap. Glad to have you here. Today we're going to take a look at that sci-fi action flick from 2015, Jurassic World. Karen has two boys, Gray and Zach, who are on their way to catch a flight to a very unique island. Gray's a middle schooler who's overly jumpy and excited over these dinosaurs, and Zach is a high school senior whose main point of interest seems to be girls, obviously. And when the mom leaves him at the airport, she tells Zach to take proper care of his younger brother. But he's all distracted and a little too cool for this.
And remember, if something chases you, run.
They're on their way to the island Isla Nublar. It occupies a theme park with unseen and extraordinary attractions. Dinosaurs. A lot of them. Because this is Jurassic World, and it's bigger than ever. They're on a ship to take them across the water to the prime location. Gray's over here talking about all his interesting facts with dinosaurs, whereas Zach, although it's barely been a few hours since he left his girlfriend, is busy eyeing on potential new ones. They're looking forward to Karen's sister Claire to pick them up when they land, but instead they're met with an unfamiliar face. A lady holds out a placard in hand with their names written on it. Nonetheless, an excited Gray and depressed Zach make their way into that fancy hotel room.
Come on!
Courtesy of their aunt's employee benefits. Ah, that iconic music plays on, almost getting a tear out of my eye. Claire works at Jurassic World. It's not really hard to tell with her perfect symmetrical hair and all-white outfit. She looks like she's channeling her inner John Hammond. You know, kind of let everyone know who's the boss around here. Claire enlightens a few new shareholders about their new science project, and I'm wondering where they're getting the money for this place. Their latest asset is a new dinosaur, although it seems like there are plenty of them around. This one is bigger and better than all the others. It's a genetically modified hybrid and is about 50 feet tall, which has characteristics of a lot of different species put together to be able to survive the worst. Take all that and you have a recipe for disaster and destruction.
When will she be ready?
Zach and Gray are making their way to explore the place. Don't be mistaken, it's no 90s theme park for nerds. This one features fancy hologram museums, a fossil cleaning area, a ride your dino for the little ones, outdoor dinosaur safaris, and it just keeps getting better. They took those deadly extinct animals and made some fun leisure activities for kids. Gray knows his dinosaurs well, and he's more than fascinated by all he's seen in the museum. After convincing the shareholders now, Claire finally makes some time to visit her nephews. You know, and she's not the best of aunts, I wouldn't even say a decent aunt, because she's hardly remembering what Zach looks like now, and he reminds her that it's been 7 years since she last saw him. Good job, Claire. You'd assume that a 7-year gap would make Claire want to spend more time with her nephews, but nah, she leaves him with Zara, her assistant, who's gonna play nanny for the rest of the trip.
Have fun and take very good care of them, okay?
Claire walks into the control room overlooking the entire Jurassic World. Guys, this is where the magic happens. Lowry, who's an OG Jurassic Park fan, seems to be the only guy in there who finds these crazy dinosaur projects unnatural and, well, crazy. He's got the whole thing going, from a Jurassic Park Merc t-shirt off of eBay to all the kinds of dinosaur figurines laid on his desk. Claire, on the other hand, finds his t-shirt rather obnoxious. Ah, fake fan. And to add some diversity around the bunch, we have Mr. Masrani. He's a little less uptight than Claire for sure. After John Hammond, it was him that took over and was the real deal behind Jurassic World. His poor flying skills may make you think otherwise.
Breathe.
Claire introduces him to their newest dinosaur, the Indominus Rex. Dear God, who thought of that name? But who am I to judge Claire's tastes? You see, this dinosaur is sharper and stronger than the rest. She's big, wide, and scary, reminding me of a lot of politicians. Mr. Masrani looks at the size of that thing and he's a little skeptical of the paddock security. With traces of her strength evident on the glass, geez, I'd be scared too if I cooked up that big of an animal that wasn't supposed to exist in the first place. And he mentions an Owen Grady, asking Claire to bring him in and inspect the place. Now let me tell you, Owen Grady is the Steve Irwin of Raptors. He has the skills and ability to keep these things under control and have them follow his commands. Watching him train these 4-caged raptors perks up Hoskins' interests. He's preparing to use these raptors as weapons for the military. Alright, first theme park attractions, now military weapons. Sup, Universal Pictures? Owen's strongly against it. He tells them that these raptors aren't meant to be left out in the open, or to follow their commands in war. They're animals with natural instincts to eat, hunt, and survive. So much for caging them up and feeding them dead rats and pigs. Inside the raptor's cage, a pig is running loose. So one of the guards tries to grab hold of it but falls straight into the cage. Who hired this scrawny little guy to take care of dinosaurs? Always trembling in fear, being surrounded by raptors ready to eat him out alive. But Owen's fight instincts kick in immediately and he runs into the cage. He stands there, unguarded, in front of those raptors. He trusts fully his command and relationship with them. And when he tells them to back away, these raptors follow his every command. They don't harm anyone in sight. Just as Owen gets them to slightly back away, he tells the others to start closing the gate, and he makes a run for it and escapes. Ooh, close call. I was definitely holding my breath there.
Don't ever turn your back to the cage.
Now Zara, the nanny, isn't doing the best job with taking care of these two boys. A few minutes into the tour, and Zach notices her being distracted on the phone, so quickly runs away with Gray. They both decide to do things as per their itinerary, exploring the place on their own. They see the Mosasaurus, an underwater dinosaur, which jumps and eats anything thrown at it. Who's in charge of coming up with these dinosaur modifications? Now Claire visits Owen, upon Masrani's request, and asks him to come and inspect the new dinosaur. However, there's an obvious tension between them, and we soon find out why. It's because of their bad first date experience. Come on, how can you not be impressed with a dude that can control raptors with his bare hands? Well, with a bad first impression of Claire, he refuses her offer at first, but eventually gives in. Claire brings Owen over to take a look at the Indominus Rex, and saying that name out loud is painfully scary enough.
Indominus Rex.
They lower a piece of meat down a crane to catch the attention and bring it to better view. But to their surprise, it doesn't appear. Owen notices claw marks on the walls covering the cage. There were marks all the way up the wall, and Claire's tensing up, concluding that the dinosaur had escaped. She rushes to the control room to track its whereabouts, while Owen enters the paddock to take a better look inside. Two others accompany him. From the control room, Lowry tracks back to where the dinosaur is and they discover that it's still in the cage. Owen and the other men inside quickly make a run for their lives, but that dinosaur grabs one and swallows that man. She totally fooled you guys. Before we go on, like the video, smash the subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell to join our expendable squad. Owen rushes out of the gate, but they're not able to close it soon enough because Indominus Rex breaks out. Owen hides underneath a car, drenches himself in petrol, and this saves him from her smelling his presence. Great, now we have the deadliest dinosaur ever created on the loose. Her intellect is not to be underestimated. This Indominus Rex even went as far as clawing out her tracker to bait the people who came for her. And it doesn't end there. Other than that great IQ and immense strength, she can also camouflage.
It can camouflage!
It's like every killer's awesome quality wrapped up into one dinosaur, and it's expected not to kill. The men try to tame her down, but their Nerf taser guns aren't doing any good, and she attacks and kills them all. Back at the control room, Masrani and Claire, speechless. Meanwhile, Gray and Zach make their way into a hamster ball, called the Gyrosphere, to take a tour of the outdoor park and see some real dinosaurs out in the open. Masrani's now trying to get to the bottom of how the hell Indominus Rex was created to do all that. It's a little late for that, buddy, but at least you're trying. Henry, the science guy, laughs in amusement and explains how this was all a consequence of Masrani's actions. He wanted bigger and scarier, and you know what? That's exactly what they made.
What y'all done?
The park warns all guests to get back to the resort at the earliest. And while Zach and Gray are out on the outdoor tour, they decide to stay out a few more minutes since they had VIP bands thanks to their Aunt Claire. Zach notices an open gate which is off the radar, and they go ahead for some more raw exploring. Kids never pay attention to anything called off limits. They come across a few herbivores in the open and stop to have a look, but all of a sudden, Indominus Rex attacks those dinosaurs. Zach and Gray are trapped in between the chaos, and Rex is spinning around their hamster ball and starts to crack it open. They manage to escape and start running for their lives. They get to the edge of a waterfall, and in order to save themselves from this monstrous creature, they jump, fortunately making it out alive. Now Claire and Owen head to rescue Zach and Gray when she's not able to reach Zach. They see all the injured dinosaurs along the way, all of them attacked but not killed.
It's killing for sport.
And they come across the destroyed gyrosphere, Claire growing all anxious. but Owen reassures her that they made it out alive. Zach and Gray discover the abandoned Jurassic Park, the real one with all the classic items covered in dust and dirt. Ah, those night vision goggles take me back. They find the old Jeep Wrangler and fix it to get it working and use it to escape from there. Hoskins walks into the control room and suggests bringing out the Raptors, which Owen was training to help save the day. But Masrani tells him that he'll have to personally have a look at him before going ahead with that idea. So he gets in a chopper, again 2 men by his side with gear on board. And they plan to take down Indominus Rex on their own first. They start aiming some bullets at her when she's in view, and it's not quite as successful. Eventually, it's not Masrani's flying skills that kills him, but the flying dinosaurs that break free.
We have a breach in the aviary.
The entire island is attacked by pterosaurs and pterodactyls. Zach and Gray manage to find their way to Zara. She starts screaming, asking them not to run, but out of nowhere, she's picked up by one of the flying dinosaurs and thrown around like a treat until she's eaten and killed. You had one job, Zara, one job. And now Owen's attacked by a pterodactyl, and he's trying to defend himself from getting eaten. Claire hits and pushes it off of him before shooting it down with a tranq. Finally, she's doing more than just running for her own life.
Is that Aunt Claire?
She then reunites with the boys, and they look more interested in Mr. Badass Owen than her. Hoskins and his team take over the control center and are planning to take complete advantage of Masrani's death. Hoskins takes charge of the Raptors and is about to put his plan in action. But don't fear, cause Owen's here to let Hoskins know that his plan is definitely a no-go. But Hoskins isn't gonna let that go, so Owen decides to help him out instead. Now, you know what they say, if you can't beat him, join him. He guides Hoskins' team on how to go about with this mission and capture the Indominus Rex successfully. As Gray and Zach sit out and safely wait, they finally start to bond as brothers. Aw, it only took them about 3 to 4 near-death situations, a bad nanny, and an irresponsible aunt to get there. I've seen worse.
Awesome.
Owen sets out with his Raptors to find this monster, and the Raptors follow the trail of her smell to find its current location. When they spot their target, the Raptors move towards it, but soon enough, they forget all about Owen and turn against him. Owen figures that Indominus Rex was created as part Raptor, which explains its alpha impulses. The Raptors start attacking the men, and their master plan seems to flop. So, that was a bad idea. Now Henry's evacuating the lab under Hoskins' command, with the 2 of them being allies from the beginning. But you know what's even more shocking? Claire's been wearing those stilettos this whole time. Running, fighting, attacking. And she's an icon. When Claire shows up to the lab with Owen and the boys, she's confused to see what it's come up to. Hoskins walks in and explains his bigger picture: to use these dinosaurs as great military weapons and fight war. But his speech is cut short when he's swiftly under attack by a raptor.
Easy, boy. Easy.
Owen and the others take that time to get out of there. Except on their way out, they're confronted by raptors all around them. Yo, Owen, bring back those Irwin skills right about now. But his sweet talk is all ignored when the Indominus Rex shows up, calling out to her minions. Sadly for her, the Raptors decide to switch their alpha and start to attack her. They throw themselves at this Indominus Rex to fight it, but she's persistent to win. Gray and Zach manage to find a hiding spot with Claire by their side. A sudden realization occurs to Gray, and he tells Claire about how the Indominus Rex was missing some teeth, and that sparks a plan into Claire's mind. She runs out and orders Lowry to open the gates to one of the paddocks. He's reluctant to follow that order, but he finally does, and the gates open, and Claire prepares herself. She lights up a flare stick, and Rex makes an appearance. Claire runs ahead and it follows that red flare. She then throws it towards this Indominus Rex, and from there on, it's an epic fight between the strongest dinosaurs, a fight that'll make its way into the history books. In the end, there can be only one winner. Indominus Rex almost has her way to victory, but it's short-lived when the Mosasaurus saves the day. Yeah, jumped right out of the water and just ate it. That was easy. The next morning, help is sent to all the guests on the island. Zach and Gray's parents arrive and reunite with their kids. Claire would have probably lost a limb or two if Karen knew exactly what went down the past 24 hours. But as long as she never finds out, they live on happily ever after. And that wraps that one up. Thanks for chilling with us on Jurassic World, released back in 2015 by Universal Pictures, starring Chris Pratt, Bryce Dallas Howard, and Irfan Khan. You know, for me, the original is always going to be the best. I don't care what anybody says. Spielberg gave the vision, and now we just can't seem to match it quite right. So what do you think? Was the sequel just as good? Let us know in those comments with that hashtag Cinema Recap. Again, thanks for watching. Till next time.